The monthly Gemrate data is out for the big four grading companies, but the numbers aren't always what they seem. The devil is in the details, and we will get into it. Stick around. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. It's another day. It is another card video. I hope that you all are doing amazingly well. If you're new here, you're looking for just about daily sports card collectible style content, then you have come to the right place, my friends. Definitely hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of them. And then also connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad, where I share pickups and reels and try to do funny things on there. Most of the time fail, but I'll keep giving it a shot. Also connect with me on Twitter at theSportsCardDad. All right, guys, Gemrate.com doing the Lord's work, put out their monthly report for the month of November, and it's covering PSA, BGS, SGC, and CSG. CGC, way too many acronyms to go through. I'm just going to do my best here. And we always look forward to this. They do daily, weekly, and then monthly. So you can run a lot of different reports through Gemrate.com. So definitely check out that site. I was watching another one of my content creator friends, Neo. He did his monthly video. I enjoyed it very much. He is a dual citizen fanboy of PSA and CSG, CGC. I am an SGC fanboy, as they are a sponsor of the channel. I'm a big fan of them, have been for a long time. So it's a fanboy battle. I do agree with some of the things that he was saying, but if we look at these numbers, let's kind of get into this a little bit. So a couple of months back, I had talked about the backlog and PSAs just feeding off of old business. And eventually that's going to go away and these numbers are going to be lower. And in one sense, I was right. And in another sense, I underestimated PSA. So when we look at this, they had 994,000 cards graded in the month of November. It's impressive. On the surface, it looks like nothing's really changed, right? Wrong. They graded 23% less sports cards in November than they did in October, 548,000. That's a pretty steep drop, I think, in most statistical circles. And again, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a statistician, but 23% drop, I don't think that Nat Turner is too happy about that. But where he is happy is the TCG non-sports side up 34% to 445,000 cards. That is a whopping number. Impressive by PSA. There's been a few different things that they've done kind of price-wise and really kind of focusing in on that TCG market. They have really kind of taken full control of it. When we look at the other companies, and I've been talking about this for a while, if you're any of the other companies, TCG should really be kind of your focus as far as where can we pick up market share? TCG, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! On the non-sports side, you've got Marvel cards and that stuff. To me, that's really kind of a big opening. And PSA is just kind of taking the reins. So CSG, if we look at them, 42,000 sports cards, 91,000 non-sports TCG cards. So CSG really getting, to me, in my opinion, they're getting pressure from all sides here. I mean, they graded the least amount out of the four companies for sports cards. They really took a hit in the month of November. I mean, they're lower than Beckett, they're lower than SGC, and of course PSA. And of course, they are getting pressure, in my opinion, because PSA is lowering prices. It's not helping. And then you've got Beckett's running specials. SGC has gained a lot of loyalty, popularity. They're running specials. They've got the $9 Bowman deal that they're doing with Topps. So that CSG bucket is really taking a hit in November. I'm very curious to see what December looks like for CSG compared to the other companies, but they've done a nice job on the TCG side of things at 91,000. That's pretty close to where they've been. So in total, they're grading a lot of cards, but man, PSA really trying to squeeze them on the TCG side. And then you've got the other companies that are also, I assume, probably trying to gain market share on that side. So they're going to get squeezed in every direction, I think. But look, I mean, they're a solid company. I've got CGC graded comic books. They've got a lot of great backing as far as financially. They've got a great slab. So good things going for CSG, but they're kind of stuck because they're getting pressure from all sides. The invasions are coming in on every border. SGC coming in at 70,000 cards, slightly less than the month before, according to these numbers, but pretty much on par. Same with Beckett at 50,000 cards for the month of November. One piece of this puzzle I don't really hear being talked about, especially among content creators that make this stuff, is the nuance that is attached to grading. And I'll give an example. I mean, for me personally, if you watch my channel, I collect a lot of auto cards, modern autos, whether it's sports or non-sports. Could be Marvel, it could be baseball. I picked up a Barry Bonds game used bat auto card. And so for me, I have just a lot of auto cards in my collection. Now, I like SGC because the auto grade is included when I'm sending those in. Now, I've got probably a dozen cards that are too thick for SGC, and I want to send them to PSA. And PSA people, tell me if I'm wrong here, but for a modern 2000 and newer auto card, it's about $40 minimum, $40 to $45 minimum to get that card graded. And again, I could be missing that, but that is not the $15, that is being advertised here is kind of like, here are the grading prices. When we get into kind of these, it's the price wars among grading companies. There's a lot of nuance to that. What's the declared value on some of these cards? Are you sending in vintage cards? Because the declared value could be all over the place. If you're sending in really rare stuff, if it's a 9 versus a 10, it can have a real significant difference as far as declared value when it comes to PSA and other companies as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. So just the idea that we're sitting at, we've got a $15 grading fee here, and we've got a $12 one here, and we're running a special for $18 here. That's not the full story. It really depends on what you are collecting and what you're deciding to grade. And the price points vary once you start adding those services up. So anyway, I think that that's kind of a key distinction here when we're talking about the price wars in the grading space. And so as predicted, I think that PSA is looking to figure out how can we grade more sports cards. And I know some people say that's crazy. They graded almost 1 million cards. Yeah, but their sports card side down 23%. Their TCG side really cranking that made up ground. So the TCG side of things has really kind of saved them as far as their backlog being gone. I saw an interview recently with Nat Turner where he said really kind of the sweet spot for them is 50,000 cards graded a day. Can you imagine? That's amazing. 50,000 cards a day. So if we're looking at 30 days, let's just take out the weekends. So we're about 22 business days, maybe in a month. So you're at about 1 million cards, maybe 1.2 million is kind of that sweet spot for where they would like to be. And so I guess another question might be, without being able to see it behind the curtain, is did they hit capacity here? Because if the goal is about 50,000 cards a day, if that's kind of, is that capacity or is that just where they would like to be? Like maybe they have capacity for 70,000 cards a day, but 50,000 is where we feel like, PSA can get the quality, the quantity right. That's like the sweet spot. That's the piece that'd be very interesting, I guess, to note. Did they only grade 994,000 cards because really they hit capacity, or do they have room for more? That would be something, again, just not knowing what's going on behind the curtain. And this goes for any of these grading companies. A lot of people, they look at this and they think too, like, man, these other companies are struggling so badly. These other companies have much smaller workforces than PSA does. Keep that in mind. I think the last interview I had with Pete at SGC, they have about 20 graders. I think that Nat had said in a recent interview that they've got more than 100 graders at PSA. That's just grading staff that they're paying, let alone all the other staff and the warehousing and all the other stuff. It's totally different. So you can't look at them apples to apples in that way. What's great is we really have 4 strong grading companies here and 4 really good options. This is only good for customers. I think Nat Turner said that this is going back a year that they would get back to $10 grading, $10 a card. And I absolutely think that that's going to happen sooner rather than later. I think that January, February at the latest, it's going to be $10 a card again, because I know they want to get set collectors back involved, but also just for their capacity and ramping up. I think that they'll be at $10 a card. He said $10 a card and not having a card in the building longer than 90 days. And I think that they're going to get to that point, but I assume that that's going to be a thing. $10 a card for grading at PSA. Now, again, we haven't added the auto grade. We haven't added all the, the a la carte items. So keep that in mind. We're probably just talking about modern cards, declared value, $199, whatever, at $10, but you get the point. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts. Who are you using on the grading space? Are you using one of these companies, using all of these companies? Let me know in the comments below. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.